Hey guys, Tim here from Uncut Never Filtered. Stay tuned for today as we present Quick Sips, a rapid review of Blue Run High Rye Bourbon up next. So when we break down this bourbon, we have a mash bill of 65% corn, 30% rye, and 5% malted barley. So when we look at that 30% rye in this mash bill, it's going to give you some of the nuances and flavors and profile notes that you would typically get with a rye whiskey. So we recommend anyone not knowing if they're a rye guy or not, try a high rye bourbon. There's no age statement on this bourbon, so that means it's been aged at least 4 years, and it weighs in at 111 proof. This batch is small batch distilled at the Castle and Key Distillery, aka the E.H. Taylor, the old Taylor Distillery for you taters out there. Calm down. And this is also the first product with our Hall of Fame legend master distiller, Jim Rutledge. He served as the contracted master distiller for this product. Whoa. I didn't say Tim at the old Taylor Distillery. I said Jim Rutledge. For those of you that don't know, Jim spent over 50 years at a little-known distillery known as Four Roses, where he served as the master distiller upon retirement. All right, we dive in on the nose. We get a lot of nuance and aromas that you typically get off of bourbon. Myself, I get sweet cherry. Nick and Greg get hints of vanilla, those sweeter caramels. And then Phil weighing in with the classic one-liner of smells like bourbon. Good job, Phil. However, again, like we said, this is a high rye bourbon, so you do get some of the nuances of a rye bourbon. Myself, when I drink high rye bourbons, I tend to get a spearmint aroma coming off the nose, and it's definitely present with this Blue Run High Rye. All right, as we jump in on the palate, again, same story as we had on the nose. You're going to get that nice balance between the rye spices and the sweet vanilla caramel flavors you'd expect with a bourbon. Again, you're going to find out this is a good beginner experience for those trying to get into the rye scene. Phil notes what a lot of people get when they first try rye whiskeys or high rye bourbon profiles. Strong, grassy, earth-like notes present on Phil's palates. But again, when we talk to the rest of the gang, we got the spicy baking spice flavors, the rye spice, but also that vanilla and caramel. Finally, let's talk about the finish. Again, still down the same track. I get a nice balancing act between the spices. I get clove on the finish and also sweetness. This time it goes from that cherry we got on the nose to peach flavor. Again, we all agreed it has a creamy nuance to the taste. It gives you a creamy mouthfeel. Again, that spice presents forward due to the rye and the mash bill, but also fades to a sweetness. That sweetness tends to linger on the back of the palate. Finally, again, Phil notes that you have the rye spice that comes forward. It's not a long finish, but it does give you a little bit of that Kentucky hug. So the verdict, again, we all agree this is a well-balanced, somewhat complex bourbon that gives you both the sweet and spicy flavors you get from the bourbon and the rye mash bill. But here's the question. Is it worth the $99 MSRP? We say almost. Again, at $99, there's a lot of things we could put on the bourbon shelf. However, Greg and I are a buy. Again, we see a bottle of this. We might not have tons of backup bottles, but there's one sitting on our shelf. Nick's a bar. Again, it's hard to justify $99 MSRP. However, he sees it at the bar at the right price. He's going to pull the trigger. Finally, we come to Phil. And for Phil, this one's going to be a hard pass. Too much of the grassy notes and the spices that you get with the rye, and that's just not his cup of tea. So again, join us next time on another episode of Quick Sips. And until then, cheers.